Hey YouTube, welcome back. JTD Bladesmithing. Today's portion of the video is going to be on the little Damascus billet I drew out from that braided cable. I'm going to give you an idea what it looks like now. I'm going to light the forge and see how hot I have to get it to actually hammer it around, since I don't have a press and I don't have a power hammer. So here it is. It's pretty much a squared billet. Different thickness, but you can see here the detail and the smacking of it with the hammer to punch it down. So we're going to see what it's going to take to get that little thing hot and hammer it out. With any luck, it won't be too much work, but hey, again, this is just an experiment. Alright, I've got this thing up to a really good color temperature, so I'm going to bring it out of the forge and give it a couple whacks with a hammer and see what's going to happen. Well, it is moving. Not as much as I figured it moved like the railroad spike. Well, right now I'm on my 5th heat, and I switched up to a heavier hammer, and it's drawn out pretty good. I'm going to pull it out and hammer on it a bit, and then we're going to go over the next steps. Alright, so as you can tell, it's getting longer, thinner. It's drawn out pretty good. So this end here, I'm going to cut that off where it's solid, same as on this end where it's in the tongue. And I am going to weld a rebar handle on it so I can keep working it without always having to use these. Because as it thins out, you know, it gets harder to grab with my different tongs that I have. But I'm pretty happy the way it's drawn out. I was expecting to have to cut these ends off anyway because they're frayed. I mean, they're pretty scared to be in the heat, so they're definitely frayed. But we'll get to those next steps here in a little bit. The final segment on this, I guess, section of videos is going to be a public service announcement. this is an educational experiment for me. And in experimenting, I got some information from the guy that gave me this big stretch of cable. He let me know that on the end it was brazed so it didn't fray when I cut it. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Alright, so this end here, minus the debris from the garage floor, this section here was run with a flux coated brazing rod. You use it just like you would with a welder, except you don't have to do anything except use your torch. So the torch heats up the brazing rod, the braze melts into here, and it basically seals that together. So the advice I was given was to start on this end next time, figure out the length I want, braze it, and then cut it just past the braze, but I'm going to braze in multiple sections as I go, which will help save more of the steel from falling off as it goes through the process, because as you see, I've got quite a length of cable here. But thank you, Josh, for the information. I appreciate it. Told you I'd do a shout out. And yeah, so while this is cooling down, I'll get to cutting off this end here and this end here and trying to weld up a rebar handle for it. But again, for an experiment, I can't say I'm all that disappointed. So we'll see you next time, guys.